original one, or are we talking about projects?
Wasteland pass. Port pass.
We prefer waxy. I'm gonna feather 19.
About a minute left for predictions in chat. Here's Stoneforge getting Batterskull. Looks like Phil's forgetting to get lands. Okay, now he's getting them. There's Tabernacle. It's pretty annoying.
Okay.
On your upkeep, tab your planes.
I'll play a.
This is during my, also during my upkeep, right?
Yeah, that's good.
Yes, the trigger of this on the stack. I'll put
Sure.
this in play.
Okay.
Mr. Mine. This
Okay.
guy.
Okay.
Drop it.
Yep.
For you.
All right, so putting Batterskull into play after Tabernacles and allowing the Stoneforge to die, plays a Tundra and passes. Let's see if this Tundra lasts. It may. Did Greg sequence that correctly? Well, Phil sequenced it correctly. Yeah, I don't see how Greg should have done it differently. There's nothing really to do. It was basically well, I guess Greg didn't have to activate port until after all the Tabernacle triggers resolved. Okay, so the germ token goes away. Yeah, the beginning of the upkeep, Tabernacle trigger goes on the stack. In response, Phil paid for the Tabernacle. I mean, paid for the Stoneforge rather than the Tabernacle. Right? Am I understanding that correctly?
Turn myself. Calling turn.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
6 cards I'll pass.
And I'm gonna pay 2 to cast Murktide.
Let's go. You port white.
All right, porting white on upkeep.
I will pass you.
Exactly. Poing says why port there is the question when Stoneforge Mystic is going to activate with the Tabernacle trigger on the stack anyway. Exactly. Yeah. That's a good point. And that's what I was thinking before. It's possible that activating the port there was not necessary. Brainstorm.
Move to combat.
17.
He is flying.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's 6.
9.
Yeah.
Pass you.
Mark that.
Phil maybe trying to find more planes. Ajuka Bog. Right after Phil neatly arranges the graveyard. Port on the plains on upkeep.
For nothing.
Okay.
Yep.
Jace the Mind Sculptor comes down.
You could have blocked at the top.
Yeah, but
I also did have another.
yeah, I'm not going to.
Face with you? Go.
Yeah, it's a nice sanctuary. Verdant Catacombs was the card on top. Allows Greg to keep it. Makes sense. No harm ever came from Verdant Catacombs, and it's being used now to fetch. Getting a Taiga. The Pyrite Spellbomb doesn't really do much at the moment. Pyrite Spellbomb in the deck to be found with Urza's Saga. There's Exploration, which is getting forced pitching Ponder. Not using the port that turn. What does that tell us?
I want two. Because I think I have I mean, yeah, there were times we could a list version rather, and the original. I want to have three original ones. Overall, it's like, well, I got everything else together like that. So it's maybe go to one. Huh? You get a box? Alright, let's go back to like. No, I'm missing the third box.
Stage.
Tundra pass. Stage copying port now. So 2 ports.
Got 3 Sylvan libraries in there? That's what I was looking at. 4? I don't know if that's what I'm looking at. I fiddled around back and forth between cutting
There's another stage.
boxes anyway. We're already cutting one. So like, you can cut that or you can cut some library.
Bounce Batter Skull on end step. Entreat the Angels on draw step. 4 Angels. Force of Fill. There they are. There's a Tabernacle and a Maze as, I wouldn't say they're answers, but they're ways to inconvenience these angels, but they're still going to be able to hit with 3 angels as of right now.
Good luck.
Twitch chat is losing their minds over these tokens. People are losing their minds.
Sure, and turn attempt to tap your fetch.
Okay.
14.
Oh,
60% favored for land, says Twitch chat.
you know.
Force of Fill finds a Tundra. As Jace is still stuck at 5. Pops the Pyrite Spellbomb to draw a card. Makes sense. 4 Angels. 3, as of right now, can get in there. All right, there's a second Maze. Greg does have 2 stages which can become even more copies of Maze in turns to come. Don't know how exciting that is for now. Bolo, thanks for the follow. Welcome.
Go. In your upkeep, I'll port a duel.
Should really wait for after these Tabernacle triggers. Wait, they're not doing the Tabernacle triggers. Oh, Force of Fill throws them all away. Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Could I target myself?
Sure.
Target.
You just need 2 more. Because, yeah, let's take 4.
Yeah, 4.
2 or 3. 2 if you're playing any other splash colors, and 3 if you're not.
What happens now? Would you have paid for those angels given the chance to, chat? Yeah, maybe Phil was just in spirit of the old rule saying I forgot about the angels, they're dead. Not sure.
Bottom it. I'll pass.
Christmas?
5.
I'll attempt that Hex Parasite.
Hex Parasite.
Passes the honor for the surveil. I know it's sure.
For each counter removed this way, that's +1/+1. So this is Phyrexian. So it's X of 6.
I'm gonna use that.
Okay.
Go.
Good draw.
Pretty much.
Move combat. Get you 3.
I'm going to try to force roll.
No, it's actually a very deep format.
For you?
I'm gonna move combat. 3, 13.
There's a lot of
Off edge.
Keep it.
Drain Jace for 6. Pay 2 life.
All right, I just updated the goals in the bottom right of your screen. They still said April, but now they say May, which is correct. We're in May now.
So in fact, you blitz, sacrifice it, and you draw it.
I have 0 cards.
Thank you, Keith, for bringing up the text for Hex Parasite. That's a weird one.
Possibility.
There's Endurance, targeting Force of Fill, and it's getting countered. Another Endurance on top. Looks like it's going to stay there.
5, 6, 6.
One of the rules.
Okay. And then I'm playing my land. 6 cards. Okay. Pass 2 cards.
Go.
All your cards have to be with them.
You don't have any cards? 1 or 2?
Okay.
Go. I'll pour all your deals.
One section.
I'm
Okay, so-
gonna cast Predict RED.
Keep it.
Mox Diamond on top. I'm letting Greg keep that if I'm Phil. Who cares?
Knockers in?
6.
Jace is up to 7 now, it looks like.
Opportunity left.
Targets?
The white and the blue ones.
Doesn't matter on these.
No, yeah.
Okay. I'll float white and blue.
First challenge was really good. The second one,
Yeah, it wasn't really a chill so much like just didn't draw it. Like,
What's about to happen?
didn't draw,
Okay,
didn't
fine.
draw the
Second main.
Okay, just trying to prevent a hard cast Force of Will. Okay. Endurance resolves this time. Here's another entreat.
I'll make 7
and
8.
that hits the table.
Making 7 angels. There's those tokens again. All right.
Keep it.
Go over the burn willows on top is fine with Phil. Fine with me too. Paying for Tabernacle. For endurance. Okay, looks like a scoop, and Force of Phil gets game 1. Some interesting things happened that game. In the end, the angel token still got there from a second entreat the angels. Turn 1 expiration for Greg in game 2. Looks like that's going to be interacted with here. Let's see what Force of Phil has. Force pitching, predict. Cycly, thanks for the follow. Turn 1 ponder for Phil.
Got it. So you started like around this time.
Turn 2 wasteland. Flooded strand pass. There's a port. And a loam targeting wasteland. Okay. Lands players watching, do you like that turn 1 wasteland, or is that not necessary against miracles? I'm curious what you think. Mox Diamond discarding wasteland. So loam is online as of right now. Force of Phil fetching. Gets a basic basic island. Turn 0 game says almost always take a turn 1 wasteland as long as you have land backup in hand or loam. That makes sense to me. I was just curious what everybody thinks. On the Wind says agreed. There's a chance Phil is land light playing out a natural duel. Here's Null Rod.
And I guess he's got
Good.
What does Null Rod do, chat? We have to act as if we will win that battle 9 times out of 10. Yeah, that makes sense to me. Here's another loam targeting the wasteland. Comics Mike and Side Norna with the correct answer. It does nothing.
You actually made it or not?
It is. Sorry.
Turn 0 games naming Fire Design card Collector Oof. As I was mentioning to Twitch chat earlier, I played in a pre-modern event yesterday. If you play the pre-modern format, let me know in the comments on YouTube. Pre-modern really needs some fire design cards. Here's predict, naming and treat. Sidenorna says, oof, predates fire design. You know what, Sidenorna? That's just your opinion. Fire design for me started around Khans of Tarkir. When Wizards stopped caring about homelands and fallen empires and started caring about what are we going to make for Commander. Richard and Pizza says pre-modern needs some shock lands. Mana base is terrible. I actually, all jokes aside, I agree. Mana bases in pre-modern are awful. And it's part of the charm in a way. It's like, it kind of reminds me of what my mana bases were like as a kid. Playing Magic in the 90s and I didn't have duels. Really, I didn't have any rares, really. my decks were really, really budget. Yeah. I can agree that pre-modern mana bases need help. But it does force some creativity with deck building. And the format plays a certain way. Turn Zero Game says, I'm a firm believer that Fallen Empires was Streets of Old Capenna this whole time. That's a possibility.
First strike damage, because I mean, Dahlia has first strike, Dahlia has first strike, Golems have first strike.
I guess the problem is just like, and this is maybe just Delver. Yeah, everything flops.
Oh man.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was,
Especially with the construction.
well, you're playing Smugglers, Copters, and I was playing even Mindset before that. And before, like, the Delver matchup.
Creating a construct in response to tearing the Urza Saga. There's the construct. Correct construct token, by the way.
And I generally go through.
Worth pointing out, Greg using an authentic Wizards of the Coast official, correct construct token. Sometimes you see people using like the Aether Revolt construct with star power and toughness. That's not the correct token. Get those out of here. I don't want to see those. I don't want to see the windmill token from Unstable. I want to see the real, correct construct token for Urza Saga, people. No more messing around. Is pre-modern like old school but with 6 Americans rather than 6 Swedes? Pre-modern is still 6 Swedes. Accompanied by 6 Americans. Okay, Comics Mike says, I like the windmill. You can like the windmill, but it is not the correct token. You're allowed to like it, though.
Like, the white sources are like limited, and I play like,
There's a Sphere of Resistance on the field now.
you know, and a bunch of creatures, like a bunch of low casting costs and colors creatures, like ballistas and the copters and the Dahlia.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean,
I'll name Jason Munch.
Needle on Jace the Mind Sculptor and Swords on the Construct. Sphere of Resistance will be a bit annoying. More like 8 Americans with gold border cards. Pre-modern's fun. Pre-modern's fun. Rigorn says, since when is pre-modern played? I don't know. It started within the last, I want to say 5 years, 5 to 7 years.
And that's the big idea before. It's like ballistics to throw the copters and
Go ahead.
so
I like using daylight for these daytime streams, but today the sun keeps going behind clouds, coming out in front, and it's a very difficult situation.
Sure.
but
Counterbalance.
Paid 3 for that, right?
yeah. I mean, the first was like, look if the non-delver marks I dealt to that
Jesus. Go. Port your white source.
Yeah, that rest in peace just completely oozes me. It actually took out one of my forces because I was thinking like, those two stopper creatures, he's gonna have to counter and tremaine
I mean,
Go.
yeah, I mean, you think,
End of your turn.
and then boom, rest in peace comes. It's like, well, I'm not
I'm gonna flash and snapcaster.
Okay, so it's analyzer.
End of your turn. Flash and snapcaster.
I'll attempt the red blast.
Counterball.
yeah.
Go.
Well, that's. I was playing until I was playing 3 fairy macabres in the spot of the rest of the features.
Go.
Generally just because
But at the same time,
I don't really care about the graveyard that much as long as I can get like able to reanimate something, that's fine. I'll flash in
Go. Port your white source.
Tainted Priest or you know, get rid of fairy macabre. You know, but or you know, make it so you can't reanimate stuff with my chalice for, you know what I mean? But
Go. I'll keep,
yeah, I think maybe 3 recipes is probably the
Yeah, I got it.
right call for if I'm gonna be between merch type.
I want to play
I
spells.
don't know. If I can't like
and then like
Mystic Sanctuary. Let's see what goes back on top.
So the trigger is going to target.
when I didn't have any light sources in the first
I can go whatever, just
but I mean just get its job.
get how to interact with people. Like, it's so
Yeah, you can. Oh wait, no.
Brainstorm.
Sorry.
Oh.
All right, Brainstorm is the card that's going back on top, and Greg is fetching in response. You may see an Endurance here, is my guess.
To endurance you?
Counterbalance reveals Snapcaster on the top of the deck, and a Force of Will getting hard cast in response to Endurance for 6 mana. Brainstorm now able to go back on top.
I'll waste your white source. Pass, and I will. Yeah, I'll tap your other white source.
So fill off white mana for the moment. Brainstorm was the card drawn for turn. Doesn't have enough to hardcast Force of Will currently. Here's Hex Parasite again. Counterbalance trigger on the stack. We're going to see a Brainstorm.
Mana roll for them, done. Yeah.
I caught it. I was so careful.
A little bit risky to cast the Parasite there, knowing Phil has a Brainstorm. Swords revealed on top. Hex Parasite countered. The Pithing Needle, in case you're just joining us, is on Jace the Mind Sculptor. Here's Scalding Tarn, which in theory could find another Tundra. I'm assuming Phil has more Tundras left. We know at least one got blown up. All right, there's another Tundra.
Had a space heater and a comforter, and I was still freezing. I took like, Tylenol, Motrin, 24/7. Didn't get home.
Sure.
There's Snapcaster.
Surgical.
The crazy part was I
Surgical,
didn't-
the Urza Saga.
I didn't lose taste.
And Surgical on Urza's Saga. So Urza's Saga in exile. Phil now searching the deck. There's one Urza Saga. Well, actually the second one. Third one. Looks like Greg's scooping here. Yep, Greg's scooping it up. That's game.